Do you ever sit there and wonder how other women in leadership juggle it all? The ones who have the family, who get to go out for the dog with the dog for a walk, who get to get opportunities to get in front of the CEO and always have the confidence in themselves in high stakes situations. If that sounds like something that you want in 2026, I advise you to stay tuned to this week's episode of the 360 Leadership Podcast, because I am joined by one of my long-term clients, Niamh Byrne, who is an amazing director in the pharmaceutical industry and also a mom of one. And in this week's episode of the show, Niamh is going to be sharing her secrets to work-life balance, what really lights her up, how she feels about her money mindset and investing in herself, and what made herself and a lot of my clients have big belly laughs at an event that we were at recently. If you're a female leader and you're curious to hear a little bit about behind the scenes of 360 Leaders Club and what my clients really get up to, definitely tune in to this week's episode of the show. Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the 360 Leadership Podcast. I am delighted today to be joined by a fantastic woman in senior leadership. Her name is Niamh Byrne, and Niamh is a director in the pharmaceutical industry over corporate governance. She has significant experience in industry over the last 25 years, and today Niamh is here to share her journey as a female leader and how we have supported her in 360 Leaders Club in her career. Niamh, you are so welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks very much for having me, Lucy. I'm delighted to join you here today.
So we were just saying before Niamh came on the show here, like she's kind of been one of my long-term clients who's got away lightly without being on the podcast. So Niamh, how long have we been working together now at this stage?
Oh, wow. It's probably about 4 years, is it?
I'd
I
say
think it
I'd
was
say
just
it's
soon
like,
after COVID, yeah,
I'd say it's about,
I think.
about 3.5 or something like that. So
Yeah.
we've known each other a while. So how did you slip the grip of the podcast? I don't know, since you listen all the time, but you're here now. So do you want to introduce yourself to our listeners? Tell us a little bit about you in terms of who you are, and what you do. And obviously I know you're a mom as well, so feel free to bring in your personal life as well.
Yeah. I'm a mum of one, so I have one daughter. She's 12 and in sixth class. I also am working full time. I work in Alexion, the rare disease unit for AstraZeneca. I'm a director there in the corporate governance area. I've been in that role for just over a year now. And prior to that, I've worked in various roles, mainly manufacturing, across the different between Pfizer, Wuxi Biologics, and a few other companies. And I also did global project management as well for a little while with Teva in the generics world, generic pharmaceutical. So I think when I met Lucy, I think we met, well, it was through LinkedIn first. And then I was the we STEM, the Women in STEM lead for Wuxi Biologics. And we were just getting set up for our Women's Day that day, and I saw you on LinkedIn, and I said, "Oh, we were looking for a speaker," and I think I contacted you then, and then you came and you did a presentation for us on that day, back in March a few years ago, and then I think it was after that, then we kind of clicked, and we started talking, and you mentioned that you had a retreat coming up, and then you mentioned as well the 360 Leadership Club that you had running. And I was kind of very intrigued by that. And I had a coach before that. Prior to that, I had an executive coach. But, it was good for 6 months, but we didn't really gel and get on. But when I met you, I think I had an immediate connection with you. And we great crack and a bit of banter and kind
Always.
of, we're on a lot of the same wavelength, like with, family stuff and trying to get doing your career and kind of busy, busy, busy. So I went on your retreat. I remember down the Lyrath. It was fabulous. And we did a little bit of, coaching work and a little bit of leadership development. And then I remember we had a little bit of personal work as well, around, I think we did some yoga,
Yeah, we
as far
did.
as I remember, and kind of different exercises for women of a certain age. Won't tell what the age is here. And it really was kind of like an all-round kind of house for me. You're not just getting your executive coaching, you're also getting a little bit of me time and kind of getting a bit more in the exercise and those kind of fundamentals for life as a woman of a certain age in the perimenopause and menopausal era.
Yeah. Oh my God. I still remember Niamh when Niamh and I met, like we, as Niamh said, obviously, I went to your site, and usually the women who tend to work with me, the majority will usually come because they want to work on their confidence in high stakes situations, or they might be struggling with self doubt, or, really burnt out. Work life balance might be a challenge. But Niamh, you were a little bit of an outlier in that. Niamh seemed to kind of have it all together. And I was like, this lady is not going to be a fit because she doesn't really have a problem. She seems to have it all. I loved you. Obviously, you know that. And then you came on the retreat, and I think you got to experience, what I always say is like the 360 magic on the retreat. So I'm curious to understand what, what was happening in your career around that time that made you go, okay, I need to get involved in this. This is different.
Well, I'd been recently promoted about 3 or 4 months before that to director level in the role, and kind of had gotten, it was kind of the same role, but a bit more strategic, and, a lot more visible presence at that time. And I was like kind of going, okay, I need to probably up my game and do something a little bit different. And I remember going on the retreat and kind of thinking, okay, I have to be open to these kind of things, can't be all just like I did a master's during COVID a couple of years beforehand as part of that kind of, upskilling myself. But I just felt that I need to do something more kind of in terms of my strategic presence and executive presence as well. And so I thought, I'll give this a shot, this retreat a shot, and see how it goes. Um, and I remember one of the items that we did there was conflict management and conflict resolution. And I had found, that I was perhaps not, um, maybe not as strong in conflict management as I could be. And I think we did a lot of work on that on the Saturday, I believe it was, in terms of that. And you give some coaching tips and kind of one of your little um, what was it? It was one of those little acronyms that we had for the coaching as well. And I just found it very easy to use. And I did use it actually in the following couple of weeks. And that was one of the items that kind of made me want to kind of go, okay, I think this is good. The other thing was then the community that I met. So I met a lot of women, similar age, similar positions, from director, senior director, and up to vice president, I think, as well. And it kind of give a really good understanding, of all the different roles women can play within the pharmaceutical workforce. And there was also a few entrepreneurs as well, and that, sparked an interest as well that there's lots of different roles that you can play, and you can change your career trajectory as well. And I thought that being in that community, you can tap into that. You can hear the issues or the conflicts that other women are having, and you're kind of going, oh, I did that, or you kind of may have experienced it, or the opposite, like in a couple of months' time, you might be experiencing that yourself. So it's great to have that person that you can tap into and reach out to and kind of ask them questions. How did they resolve it? Or, had they any advice in X, Y, and Z? So I think that was, yeah, that community feel was one of the key things that made me join the 360 leadership once that retreat was over.
Yeah,
Then.
I'll never forget actually. Was it that retreat? It was because Neve has come all the way to Portugal with me as well. Let's just say Neve likes her retreats, and we do one every year. We even went to Portugal last year, but I always remember actually that retreat. I think that was back in 2022, actually, which is just wild that it's so long ago. But I remember at I always like to do a nice dinner, and it's always very, I like my nice things, so I like to look after you. And I remember I was leaving about 10:30 because I was wrecked after the day, and I remember looking over and just seeing you all cackling, laughing. And I remember, I think it was Catherine at the time said, I haven't belly laughed in such a long time. Like there was just belly laughs happening with you. And it just made my heart so full because obviously I do this to help, develop you as leaders and to help you to reach your potential. But to see the friendships being formed, and like it's very rare that you find women that you can actually really click with. So yeah, like what were those belly laughs about? Can you remember, or is that like censored?
Probably some of it was censored, definitely, but I think just even chatting about the kids and family life, and then being able to switch into work mode as well. Like we had a good discussion, I remember that night about pay, and kind of what was the pay scales for each of the different roles in each of the different areas and things like that. And I think a lot of us kind of went, oh, wow. that'd be, money mindset kind of changed as well. I think a lot of us kind of thought about, putting our value there as well. And I think women in general don't put value sometimes on their skill sets
Yes.
and on, what they can offer companies. It's more about what the company can offer you sometimes. And I think it's like we're quite backwards in selling ourselves, I suppose. And I would have been one of those people as well. So I think chatting that night, with different range of people across different positions, we did have a bit of discussion as well about the money and kind of pay levels, etc. And I think as well you did a coaching session, I think it was a few months after that, about how to put your value, if you were going into a new role or if you were looking for, a pay increase, etc. And I think that really helped as well. That was kind of part of that, kind of
Yeah.
like a little thread that ran through some of those discussions that we had.
I'd say there's a bit more to it anyway, but we'll take the PG
There
version,
might be.
Niamh. But in all seriousness, like let's talk about that money piece because I know we were chatting about this before we came
Hmm.
online. I think you're so right in what you said. And like guys, if you're multitasking, come back to me on this one because I think it's a huge mindset shift that's like, oh, what can the company give me? And aren't I so lucky? I can't believe I'm getting promoted to director or vice president. Like, wow, like, they must be stuck or imposter syndrome comes in. But when you actually look at your skill set and your experience on paper, and then you can actually put a value on that, you will very, very quickly see that actually they need you way more than you need them in most cases. So it's something that obviously we talk about a lot in 360 is owning your value, owning your worth, and investing in yourself. But I remember myself before I started investing in myself, and I don't think you had ever invested in coaching or anything like that before 360. It was more work, wasn't it?
Yeah, work had invested. Yeah, I'd never done it personally, and
Yeah.
it was a big step.
Yeah. So like let's talk about that a little bit because I do think that's a big thing. Like whether people this is by the way, guys, this is not a sales pitch. I would just love for all women to be okay with spending your own money on yourself. So what were you thinking before you started investing in yourself? Because now you've clearly got the book because you've continued versus your mindset now. Like what's different?
Um, so I think I was reluctant, I'll be perfectly honest, to invest in myself. It's always has been work, kind of development or that type of thing. Like even the coach that I had prior to this, that was a work. It was actually my boss suggested it because she had gone through coaching and she said, I think you should try this and see how it goes. And so I did 6 months of that, and it was good, but I don't think I got the value out of it that work had paid for, if you know what I mean. So then I was kind of starting to have a look around, but I never thought of actually spending my own money to invest into myself. And it's now I think that's a crazy idea because the few pound that I did invest by going to that retreat paid off a lot. Like even just in the conflict management and also the exercises and even the chats with the women as well, like that small amount of money really paid off, I feel, in the following few months. And that was one of the reasons I went and I invested myself. I think for the first year or so, I invested myself in 360 and then I got the company to invest then after that,
Yeah.
because they could see the benefit in it. I believe that was one of the reasons. We also, the CPDs, like that wouldn't be something that I would do myself. I never think of that. Coaching and the leadership development, to invest in myself for that.
Yeah. And like, so I'd love
But
to know, like, cause I love that, right? I actually think it's way better if you invest in yourself first. But then, I'm all about, like, if you want to stay, I will help you to get it from your company. But isn't there something so empowering? I don't want to lead you, but like, when you did that for the first time, the feeling of like actually backing yourself and investing a few €1,000 in yourself, like, what does that do to your own value? I suppose yourself instantly, I feel.
yeah, so it made me feel valuable, that I was spending my own money on my own personal success because that's essentially what you're doing. You're paying value forward. So then the next step in the ladder, whether it's a yearly review or whether a new role, etc., like this all investment kind of helps you build up your own presence, your executive presence. And I just felt, right, I'm paying for this now. I'm going to take value out of it. I used the workbooks and I did the whiteboard and did all of the various activities, kind of just to try and kind of get the best value out of that
Mm,
because I had put my own money into it. So
mm,
I was determined to use it kind of thing. And I've been to the majority of the calls, any of the workshops as well, as much as I can possibly with work, or else I'd listen to the recorded versions as well.
mm.
Simply because, that was my money at work for me.
Mm. But you've
And it
continued that as well, which is something that I love about you. Like you've been very diligent in terms of like your commitment to your development. So Niamh, I'm really curious then, you were saying that you saw a lot of benefits from joining 360, and then also you also mentioned that you think your employer saw benefits. So for you personally, what benefits did you see, I guess, within the first 6 months being in 360, do you think?
I think I was able to identify kind of the top priorities for myself and to prioritize my workload. That was one of the things at the time because we were doing a startup and it was just mental because we were going from a green field, starting it up into GMP production. So not only were you doing commissioning, validation, qualification, equipment, but you're also hiring people. So we were hiring up to a team of 150 people within my team. And then you were training people and, trying to get the show on the road. And it was just pure chaos. So I think at that time, I used a lot of those kind of the tools that you had, the prioritization matrix, to figure out, what I needed to prioritize, what did I need to work on today, what could I delegate, what the team could do as well. So we did a good bit of the work with my direct reports at the time to try and identify kind of, what's the top priorities for this week and what can actually shift the needle rather than, kind of just firefighting and a big to-do list. So that was kind of one of the key things, one of the key benefits I found at the time. And I still carry that on to this day to identify kind of what's going to shift the needle versus what is something, kind of routine work that just kind of comes in and that we can automate now with AI, but we
That's
can
another
talk about that later,
podcast.
maybe the AI conversation.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
and, there was a lot of that at the time, and then personal benefits as well. So at home, kind of the work-life balance. Also, I made some non-negotiables in regards to my health and fitness. So I started walking the dogs a couple of days a week. And I also started going to the gym and cycling as well. I started cycling back in 2018. And then with COVID and that, it kind of slowed down a bit. But then when I came back, then I was into the cycling and myself and my husband did that together. And we actually got a babysitter in a couple of days a week so we could go off doing our cycling on our date nights. And things like that, wee things like that. I don't know would I've done it myself, but I think the community spurred me on. And writing your intentions on a Monday morning, kind of what you were going to try and get done that week. So this is something that you do, Lucy. You do intentions and then you do a Friday celebrations. And I try and do that most weeks as well to try
What
and
do you
say,
feel that
okay,
gives you actually, Neve? Because I think sometimes it's so alien for people, guys. If anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, so basically in 360, obviously, like we said at the start, we are all about conflict management and change management and giving you tools for your executive presence and all of that, and giving you coaching so you can come with challenges and we can help you to, give you a guidance in real time so you can move forward and all of that stuff. But like, I care about you guys because I am a woman leader and I couldn't be without my coaches who remind me, hey, don't forget about your marriage, don't forget about your health, and that's why I do what I do. But in terms of the weekly wins and celebrations, one thing I notice, obviously I was exactly the same, is that when you're working in an organization, it's just all go, go, go. It's fire, 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 to do list. And as soon as something's done, what do? We go on to the next thing without pausing. So a huge part of 360 is providing the space so you can actually set intentions for the week and have that accountability for what you want. And we're all there to help hold you accountable. But then the celebration on a Friday is like, hey, I got this thing done, or I actually went to the gym 3 days a week. And it might sound a bit juvenile, but it's just so effective. So what do you like about that? Like, and how do you think that even doing those two small things are helping you, 3 years on that we're working together?
I think it's being accountable, being held accountable for stuff. Like whether it's, like you don't always get to the gym. It's like being in the gym and you have a personal trainer and they're keeping you accountable and they're keeping you going or getting physio or, kind of doing your exercises. They'll always know you didn't do it because the next time you come, you won't be fit to do the exercises or, you won't have as much fluidity to your movements or that. But I think it's similar to that. Like this is not just for your home life and your personal exercise, etc., but also for work life as well. You kind of if you don't keep stretching yourself and kind of keep that fluidity into both your own leadership styles and keeping yourself held accountable for different items every week, like you won't do them.
No.
You won't. Well, I won't anyway. I need something like a kind of a goal in mind before I do something. I can keep going with it and keep it active like that. And I think just doing the intention every week, whether it's, what I try and do is like do two work things and a home thing, kind of just to kind of, make sure that I kind of have a nice spread so that I'm doing something for work and then something for myself or my family, because family for me is one of the key values that I have as well.
Love that.
Um,
And how would you say then, Niamh, like obviously you're in industry, a couple of decades like myself, we're not getting any younger, but obviously you've done a lot of different training and I know you've done obviously your masters and obviously you've done a
mm.
lot of different, you had coaching work and you've done leadership training. How would you say 360 is like different to anything you've ever done?
I think it's the variety. So it's not just we're working on executive presence and leadership skills and conflict management. I think the fact that you've brought in the CPDs as well, you're also working on mindset. Like one of the ones that we did was the finance mindset. You did a call with a special guest one day, and it was all about finances and pensions and security and shares and all the different things. And it hit me that day when we were on that call with that lady. I think it was Karen was her name, and I realized, sure, I had 4 or 5 different pensions with different companies. I had different logins. I didn't know what was going on with them, and things like that. It's just to try and be aware of your financial circumstances as well. And then another day, change management training. We've done showing up, to an executive presence and um, doing the retreats as well, because there's a little bit of different, everything's a little bit different. It's not your standard run of the mill. You come in, step by PowerPoint, and you go home again and you never think about it again, or you get a nice wee booklet. Like, this is different. It's ongoing, it's interactive, it's thought provoking. We also have the little community um, as well, where we can see what events are coming up. We can put in the chats and ask people questions. If you're having issues at work or if you have a particular problem, and has anyone gone through this before as well? So the community is kind of what sells it a lot for me as well, is having other women in similar circumstances as what I'm in and having someone that you can just reach out, couple of we chat on the phone and someone comes back to you probably within a couple of hours saying, oh, that happened to me, or did you ever try this? And I've done that as well for other ladies who've put in questions as well, if they've been asking questions. Um, and like one of our hot topics at the minute is AI and
Yeah.
artificial intelligence, and we've got a couple of super users, Lisa and a few others. And it's great to be able to kind of ask questions or see what they're doing with AI. And it kind of gets your head thinking about, geez, I could do that too. And, I used it like from a personal perspective, I used it for planning my Athens trip last September when we went on holidays to kind of identify what's the top 10 places to visit and, also in work then as well using it. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah,
So it's
it's
like
kind
a
of like it's the
variety.
whole
So
experience.
it's like, I mean,
Yeah.
you'd swear it was called 360 Leaders Club or something, the whole 360-degree success. That's how I designed it. But in all seriousness, though, like, I think you've hit the nail on the head in terms of my vision. So it just gives me so much like joy back to hear how much of an impact it's having on you. And I'm curious as well, like, like I said at the start, a lot of the women who join, first of all, guys, would hierarchy, is it a thing in 360, would you say, or not?
No,
No.
God, no. I don't think so. No, because like I could ring up, um, like Linda or Suzanne, like one's a senior VP and another's a VP, I think, or they both could be senior VPs, I'm not sure. But, you could ring them up and have the crack with them and chat with them and ask career advice or ask personal advice from either of them. And the same with anyone else. Like you don't think of what level in an organization they're at. You actually think, okay, this could be something that this person could help me out with because of their previous experience,
Yeah.
or kind of stuff that has come up in a call or a discussion point as well. If they've said, oh, I've had that experience in the past working with multinational corporations, or like Lisa, who's in the States as well, if you have questions around kind of cultural differences, etc., if you want to kind of check on something as well.
Yeah. I think it's that diversity
So
as well. Like I love the fact that, we have women from industries like yourselves, the pharma, but then Linda, you mentioned one of the ladies, she's in marketing. Then we have other
yeah,
people who are in the financial services. And we've got other people who are in startups, other people who are entrepreneurs. So it's having that that kind of diverse kind of input into
network.
everything. I think
Yeah.
that's really, really valuable. And obviously you mentioned AI as well. We've a lot more coming in AI next year, which I'm very excited for. I won't give it all away. Okay, so I suppose, is there anything else I wanted to ask you? Like, I guess, I mean, I just think you're such an amazing woman. Genuinely, I've told you this before. And guys, anyone who's listening who is considering joining 360, if you just head over to 360leadersclub.com, you can join our priority waitlist and we will let you know when a spot becomes available. We do usually open up a couple of spots every month-ish, depending on the numbers and timing and all that kind of stuff. So you can head over there, and obviously, Niamh, we'll tag you in the show notes anyway, your LinkedIn, if that's okay, if anyone wants to reach out to have a chat with Niamh about it. But one thing I do want to kind of just get across as well is, even though, we're talking a lot about Niamh has been in 360 a long time, like all women who are high achieving, who are warm and have the right vibe are welcome once your goals align with what we're doing. So I don't want anyone to think that we're all cliquey or anything like that, because it's not like that. Like we're very welcoming, I would say, to new members. Would you, Niamh? Well, I know you are anyway.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah, no, and it's lovely meeting new people. Like I'm actually some of the members are people that I worked previously in a different company as well, and it's great to see how they've come on too and what different roles they've done and experiences that they've had as well. So
Yeah.
I love that part of it. Like you meet people from all different sectors and different backgrounds and everything. Like it's great crack. It's great fun. Like.
Yeah, great old crack. And tell me this then, like, so why, like, why do you think if someone's listening to this now and they've been listening to the podcast for a while and they've been potentially thinking about joining 360 and they've been putting it on the long finger because they're either too busy or they think, they can't afford it or whatever, what would you say to them?
I'd say to them no, to definitely join, to reach out, have a look at, listen to your podcast. 'Cause that's where I started myself as well. Listen to the podcast and your LinkedIn profile as well. And reach out to, if they are considering it, you could reach out to myself or some of the other ladies as well. But kind of it's the all round experience. Like it is, I know it's the name of it 360, but it is really the all round experience. You're not just getting your career sorted in leadership, executive presence, all of that type of stuff, but you're also getting personal, family, health advice, financial advice, all sorts of different things like that. It's there's an awful lot of kind of free stuff, or kind of add-ons, I think, that you provide as well, Lucy. And then there's the girls like Katie and Sophie in the community as well. And I've met them as well on different retreats as well, and they're great crack and great fun as well. But
Yeah,
it's just I think it's great. Like I honestly have to say I wouldn't be still here anyway, and I wouldn't have advocated for it
I know you
in
wouldn't.
terms of my
You're straight
workplace as
up.
well.
Yeah, you're a straight
Yeah,
up
in
kind of woman.
fairness,
That's
yeah,
what
if
I
I
like
didn't
about you.
if I didn't agree with something, I
She
wouldn't say
definitely
it.
wouldn't be here with me today, that's for sure. All right, Niamh, listen, is
Um,
there anything else that you wanted to share before I ask you our last two questions, or do you think we've covered everything?
I think we've covered everything. I think it's been it's great to work with yourself and to kind of get the different information and nuances. And sometimes, some of the information mightn't be relevant just quite now, but it could be down the line, like 6 months down the line. I know we've had, one-to-one calls as well, Lucy, where there's been an issue or an item has come up where I've requested kind of one-to-one call with you and personal advice in terms of my career. And that has been really beneficial and very useful for me. So to have you kind of not just the community, but to have you as the executive coach as well as the community, it's that nice blend of both. I think
Yeah.
that 360 offers. It's great.
Yeah,
Highly recommend it.
I'll always be your biggest cheerleaders. You know that that's why I do what I do. It brings me so much joy. Okay, so Niamh, just as we wrap up, these last two questions, I hope. I'd love to know, what does success, balance, and happiness mean to you?
So I think, and this is one of the reasons why I went for this new job, it's having that work-life balance and having, kind of being fully involved and fully kind of invested in myself in work, really enjoying work, doing something I love, and that I don't get the Monday morning or Sunday night scaries anymore. I love coming into work and having the crack and doing the role I do. And that's one of the things I think 360 has brought to me, is when I did decide to move on with my career, that I took my time, I made sure it was the right role for me, the right next step in my career journey as well. And having as well the work-life balance, being able to go walk the dogs, drop my daughter to school in the mornings or pick her up on a Friday afternoon, and kind of spending a bit more time as well, and proper time, not just sitting scrolling on the phone answering emails while half listening to how school went today or anything like that. So I think that for me, to be fully present, to be fully invested and doing something I love as well.
Love that. I absolutely love that. And I can see that you have that as well. And finally, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received or heard?
I think the best piece of advice that I've had was, if you believe you can do it, then you're already halfway there. So, a lot of the time we kind of go, oh, I'd never be able to do that. Oh, I'd not be able to do that. But I think if you believe you can do it, or you can see yourself being successful doing something, then you're halfway there, because your head's already at the success line, at the finish line. Like, you've already achieved it. So it's just to figure out how to get there. It's just a problem to solve. It's not a big, huge, like, task ahead of you. It's just like a wee problem just to solve, because you're already there, like, in your head.
Love that.
So
Love that. Mindset is everything. Mindset is
yeah.
everything. All right, Niamh, listen, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I can't believe it's been like we're together, working together 3 or 4 years, and this is your first time. I'm so proud of you for coming on. Anyone who gets to work with Niamh, she's an absolute joy, and mean that. And Niamh, if anyone does want to reach out to you, where can they find you? Where's the best place to connect?
Probably LinkedIn. My LinkedIn profile is probably the quickest place to connect, and I'm under Niamh Byrne, with Rooney in brackets, my maiden name in brackets. So I think you can link
Amazing.
it probably on the show notes, I think.
Yeah, we'll link Niamh's LinkedIn on the show notes. Niamh, thank you so much. I'm so excited for 2026 together. I can't, or 2026 together. I can't wait to see. We have our other retreat coming as well. So actually, if anyone's interested in the retreat, we're nearly sold out with the retreat, even as I'm recording this. But if you are interested in coming along to an in-person event, either just send me a DM on Instagram or LinkedIn, and I can let you know if we still have spots when the show goes out to air. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for listening. We will be back again next week, same time, same place. Until then, bye for now.